Today on my new Cottagecore YouTube series, Hag Hacks.
Oh my god.
Like, should
right.
I defend him?
I feel like we're back. Does anybody need anything else before we get back in here?
Where were we?
We're going to take it back just a second to where you take the shot. Elerie, you're sitting in the middle of this ramshackle shed. The old woman at the end of the bar gives you a glance, and the bright green marble that replaces her left eye shudders within its housing as she blinks and is also apparently confused by your presence. The clear liquid in the wooden cup is slapped down in front of you. That will be 3 copper.
Elerie reaches into her pocket and throws down the 3 copper. Actually, make that 4. And takes the drink and throws it back.
Okay, make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so you got a 7. So with a 7, you don't pass out or cough or immediately vomit. However, what you do is you immediately feel the room begin to spin, and you are very inebriated off of this single drink. And Elerie is someone who knows how to drink. So you begin to wonder what exactly the situation is, what they've given you. And everything in the room begins to kind of wobble and move around you. And you feel as if the floor is rocking back and forth. And you hear the creaking of sails as if you are back on the siren's call. What would you like to do?
Illyria's gonna wink. Now that's the stuff that I'm talking about. and I think if she's been taken back that much, I feel like perhaps she's gonna sit down a bit, and if she's lost her wits and what she's doing here, clearly maybe for mandolins on her back, maybe she reaches for that as well.
Okay, you reach for your mandolin.
Yeah, no one's playing. Clearly that's what she's here now for.
We have a bard. Well, if we have a bard, it's customary for me to pay. Slaps another cup of the clear liquid in front of you. On the house.
Thank you. I'm going to drink it.
The old woman spits at you.
All right, I'll drink it. This is going to be a good night. So,
do you throw it back again?
Sure. If that's the evening we've called for, and but I can't guarantee that this is going to sound good if you send me another one of those.
We'll be all right. You can make a Constitution saving throw at a disadvantage.
How do I apply the disadvantage?
Just roll twice, and we'll choose the lower. It's a 5 and a 6. You almost have a straight with these rolls.
I know. Larry's
but
gonna be on the floor.
We're not playing poker, I hate to inform you, so it's not that great. You start to black out. You feel woozy, and you kind of blink for a moment, and you don't completely pass out. You haven't failed that badly, but you do feel like it's not great. Like there's definitely this wobbling sense in your head, and you hear footsteps, and there's a figure behind you, and then someone sits at the bar next to you and raises their hands like this. They have a hood over their head, and they reach up and they pull it back, and they look at you directly in the eyes. The face that you see, Elerie, as the storm rages outside and your mind wanders and wobbles in this horrible little fish shack of a tavern. You know that they've served you probably the strongest drink that they have, intentionally trying to throw you off your guard, and it's worked. While you've not passed out, you feel fully unable to fight back if anyone were to try to attack you. And in that moment, you hold your mandolin and pluck weakly at the strings. This figure has arrived out of seemingly nowhere and sat themselves on a stool right next to you. Pulling back their hood, you see pale skin, like porcelain, with a translucent quality and a network of purple veins that work themselves across their face. Deep black eyes and long pointed ears. Their white hair has been braided back and pulled away from their face. What have we caught here?
Nothing but a wave. Got any song requests?
Unsmiling, the figure looks at your mandolin with distaste.
Excuse me. I think I took care of something in the alleyway for you earlier.
I'm listening.
Those drinks,
Did exactly what they were intended to do.
Yeah, I know, but do we have to go through this, every time? Maybe a little lighter drink or something? Tittle bomb, yeah. I took care of that.
The gnome. Your ally.
I don't think he's my ally if he's ratting me out to the Inquisitor.
Barrick, bring me the package behind the bar. Oh, yes, of course. Master Jugir, whatever you like. And you're kind of wavering on your bar stool as the frog-like bartender reaches under and grabs a bundle of wrapped leather and pushes it forward. The gnome, the drow says, it was our understanding, was an associate of yours. He had interesting things to say.
Like what?
That you had been talking to the officials of the city, that there were members of a force of inquisitors that were curious about a ship known as the Siren's Call. The drow turns and is no longer facing you, Elerie, as they unroll the leather bundle, and you see what look like surgical tools.
Now, before we go taking those out and threatening each other, we know each other's business, you've been following me around or something, but come on. Just hear me out, all right? This ally associate ratted me out to the Inquisitor. I took care of him for you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Seaborn. From our information, you don't do anything for anyone other than yourself.
And you all are in my best interest, so I better do my job with you right.
Coming here was either excessively reckless, or you're telling the truth. There's no real way to know if I can trust you. So I'll have to settle for intimidation so that you fully understand the weight of the situation that you find yourself in. The drow works their hand almost seductively across the tools that are rolled out before them and pull a very sharp-looking dagger out, and it is almost a diamond at the tip, where it has been a tapering blade that works its way down to a metal handle that has been forged into it, and begins working the blade in their hands and looking upon it, looking at you in the eyes very intensely. Pulls the blade back and throws it across the bar, striking the innkeeper in the throat. Blood begins gurgling from their mouth as they are pinned to the wall, fighting to try to pull the blade out. The spray of blood works its way across the makeshift tavern. This entire time, the drow doesn't break their gaze with yours. What do you do?
Continue to strum my mandolin and make complete eye contact with this drow and say, I didn't tell them anything about your business.
The drow reaches forward towards you and places a hand over the strings of your instrument to silence them. Let us talk business then. In another tavern, in another part of Waterdeep, Doddle, Hawke, Siraye, and Maglo. Each of you have spent the evening in the very warm, welcoming, clean, comfortable tavern known as the Golden Owl. It is sat within the southern ward of Waterdeep and holds within its walls one of the most magnificent libraries that you've ever seen within a private collection. It is in a back room with a warm fire and books as far as the eye can see, rising up on 3 levels with wooden ladders on wheels that stretch across the chamber. There is a public common room that is also pleasant, though somewhat smaller, and many seats and little nooks that you could get lost within, all throughout the tavern. The bar is maintained by a very strong woman known as Tamara Woolchrist. She is a former adventurer and has graying hair that is pulled tightly back from her face in braids and a well-worn apron that she keeps very meticulously clean, much like the rest of the tavern around her. There is a turtle tavern keep as well, who works his way slowly across the entirety of the tavern, picking up old tankards and cleaning things, serving customers as they come in. A young boy is often seen sweeping with a mop of blonde hair and a thin, scraggly frame. He is often seen in the common room and very rarely in the library itself. You all have accepted rooms here, thanks to your contact that has led you to the Golden Owl. The halfling known as Phineas Fiddlescratch has made his intentions well known. He came upon you while agents of a gang known as the Grasping Eye were trying to relieve Maglo of a very important book, one that held a great amount of research about a place known as Evermeet. In a number of encounters, you managed to pull yourselves away with the book intact. However, you were invited here and told that it was of your best interest to find those within Waterdeep that could help and support you. You were told that the city was dangerous and that without proper allies, it would be very easy for individuals such as yourselves to find yourself on either the wrong side of the law or in a dark alley, engaged in combat with members of any of the various gangs that roamed these streets. You each have your own room. Maglo, you have been barely sleeping, but you do manage to find some rest. The desk next to your bed is covered in scrolls and books. Inkwells are opened and a small fire burns in the small fireplace across the room. There is a wardrobe here. You have put a chair up against the door to prevent anyone from entering into your private chamber. Additionally, your brass automaton, Busby, is sat upon the desk, casting a pinpoint of light across the entire room, searching for anything that might be amiss, guarding you while you sleep. You open your eyes and find your glasses next to your bedstand. What do you do?
Maglo's going to look to Busby and give the signal, like, found anything. All right, that's fine. We can keep on looking. That's all right. Go on, you have a rest. I'll take over. And Maglo's gonna try and look for any form of hollowness in the walls or any breaks, any way that people could be looking in.
Okay. I'd like for you to make an investigation roll, please. 25. Yes. 25. Is that all? Do you have anything? Burn an inspiration?
Genius, make
yeah,
it 29.
Yeah, you do realize that the walls are fairly and very suspiciously hollow, especially on the wall that is facing the opposite side from the fireplace itself, the wall that has your desk sat upon it. There is a painting sitting there above the desk, and the painting is of a field of flowers.
There's a couple of ways that this could go. Either these people are telling the truth, they want to help us out, they want the book because we're just like done the most amount of research and we know basically everything there is to know and we know everything that a human could know, or they're sending us down this hole to jump us, have us die because of whatever this box is, take the book, and then use all our information. But to that effect, these people don't seem like holy folk. They don't seem like they'd have a grudge against us. As far as I'm aware. Oh, what's your thoughts? Maybe. All right. Okay. Right. I assume you know about the whole the fact that the wall is hollow. I don't know. I don't trust it. I mean, what are the chances that we stumble into a fucking alley and then immediately get picked up for everything that we've been searching for? Or they just found us? What? How? How does that make any fucking sense? Why? What? How come? Is the goblin a plant? Are they also trying to get us here? I don't want to eat here. I don't truly feel comfortable sleeping either. But if we keep taking turns, I guess that's alright. Alright. Okay. Hey, bud. Hey. First thing first. We're just going to play it cool. It's going to be fine. Second. No, I know. No, listen. I know I'm being silly. Alright, fine. Right? We'll play along. We'll let them have their things. Listen, anyone who has any form of intelligence has fucking hollow walls. They don't just let anyone just sleep in the rooms without being able to check them. I get that. It's basic fucking water deep in structure. But it just seems too much. I'm saying we check at least one other room just to see if they have a hollow wall, and if they do, then hey, it's just normal and it's fine. We can play along. We can do this. This fiddle dick, we'll play along with him, and maybe he's real and a good boy, or maybe he's trying to kill us. We don't know. I don't know.
In another room, not too far away from this one, on the second floor of the Golden Owl, Hawke, you awaken. You're covered in sweat, and you are panting. Next to you is the sword. You had placed it in the corner when you had gone to bed. And now you find yourself grasping it, holding it close to your chest as you awaken. What do you do?
First thing I do is I go, fuck.
Okay, good night. Sleep in a bed. Who's that fucking fiddle scratch think he is?
Give me purpose. I have a purpose. I'm not going to be a goddamn messenger boy. Hawke shakes his head and he looks at the sword. and that's why he knows what he has to do. So he moves to commune with his patron and get guidance from her. So he takes some of the candles that are in the room and he arranges them in kind of like a semicircle around him. And he takes the blade. At the hilt, there's a fine chain that's wrapped around the grip.
All right.
And he starts unfurling it bit after bit. And as he does, it doesn't really go away, but he wraps it in his hand and he takes out a dagger and he cuts the palm of his hand and squeezes the blood into the chain and closes his eyes and opens himself.
The sounds of the tavern begin to dull around you, and the fire that was in the fireplace when you went to bed has completely turned cold into ash. It died many, many hours ago, and the room is full of cold air. And your breath kind of plumes in front of you as you do this, and your hair is scattered across your eyes. But as the blood drips down through your hand and onto the floor, all of the sounds of Waterdeep begin receding away, and everything becomes, for a moment, very, very dark, and you hear that place again where she first came to you, and it pushes its way back into your mind, and your devotion is received, and in a moment later it is gone, and the sounds of the tavern below return, and the air is not quite as cold as it was before. You hear creaking of floorboards in the rooms around you, and your stomach growls.
I latch the sword to my back. I get up and I'm gonna head downstairs and eat.
On the panes of the windows here within the Golden Owl, there are washes of water that continue to streak down it as the day is still full of rain. And in the distance, you can hear the rolling thunder as the storm that landed has not yet abated and continues on in the city of Waterdeep. Doddle, when you wake, you are well rested, and the bed that you are sleeping upon is very comfortable. For you, sleep is still a foreign concept, and the idea of dreams is something that reminds you very much of the trance that you've always known. However, that sense of loss and confusion when you wake can be scary from time to time, as you often have a sense that you're forgetting something very important when you open your eyes for the first time in the morning. Your window is cracked open, and there is a morning breeze, and you can hear the city out beyond you, and the courtyard of the Golden Owl is present. You hear horses in the distance in the stables, and you hear shouts of merchants further down the street. Your goblin ears are very adept at picking up sounds, and as you wake up, you are assailed from all sides with the life that is teeming around you in the city. It's much different than it was in the woods when you first made your way onto this continent, when you arrived from your home. Harold has built a nest on a pillow next to you and has ripped up a number of items within the room to try to enhance it and to build a suitable place for the golden brown hen to rest. She has shredded a number of things, some wood and a extra blanket, and one of the pillows. She's gathered all the feathers from that and built herself a nest that she is currently sleeping in. She raises her head up and looks at you for a moment, clucks, and then lays it back down. What do you do?
Harold, and then Doddle's gonna start pacing back and forth across the room. We are on a mission. We are supposed to get back to Evermeet, and in order to do that, we have to complete this quest given to us by Mr. Fiddlescratch. And in order to do that, we're going to have to work as a team with our newfound friends. Things have been less than successful so far. They've been a little awkward, but I've been taught that the way to take strangers to friends is to sit them down for a good meal. So, we're gonna have to figure that out first. And then she's gonna roll up her sleeves, and she's gonna march downstairs and find an innkeeper.
Harold tucks her head in underneath her wing, and you manage to pry the door open and walk yourself out of your room, making your way downstairs.
Scarf over my face.
Okay, you cover your face with a scarf. Next, we come upon a room with a bed that has not been slept in. Seated on the floor, cross-legged, is Siraye. The room hasn't been touched, altered in any way. You are meditating, and you are exiting the trance as the morning light begins to shine through the window of your room at the Golden Owl. As your eyes open, you are somewhat saddened by the memory that you have called yourself to this place from. It was a happier time, not that you have many of those. One where you could be more carefree and not have to worry about the world around you. This individual, Phineas Fiddlescratch, has been very clear about payment. And if it weren't for the promise of coin, you aren't entirely sure that you would still be here. Siraye, tell me what you do when you pull yourself from your trance.
Okay, Siraye gets up. She is very stoic and direct in her movements. Inspects the room to make sure no one has been in and out, that it's like been secured. And then she'll leave the room and head into the lobby to wait for Fiddlescratch and the rest of the mission briefing.
Okay. You gather yourself and your things and leave the room exactly as you found it, untouched. Maglo, you swing your door open and pull the chair out of the way, and you see the small form of Doddle walking down the hallway towards the stairs.
Can I just smile and say good morning as I pass by?
Wait, quick. Can I check your room for a second?
Sure, why not?
Grant, thank you. And then Maglo's gonna walk into Doddle's room and then knock on all of the walls.
Okay, so you enter into Doddle's room. Doddle, you continue downstairs, correct?
Yep, I just say, what a peculiar man, and I keep on walking.
As you rush into Doddle's room, the golden brown hen known as Harold raises its head, stands like protectively over the bed. Okay, you're staying away from the bed?
I'm gonna be 5 minutes, bud. Like real short amount of time.
Kind of like marches around the bed protectively. As long as you don't touch the bed, it doesn't seem like the chicken is going to attack. So you start tapping on walls
and knocking on all the walls,
the chicken is highly annoyed, but you manage to start tapping on the walls. You get very much the same sense that the walls are hollow here. And as you work your way around, you come to the window that's open. And seated on the window is a pile of what look like berries that have been stacked on the windowsill. And there is a smear of blood.
Well, where's the blood going? Is it going outside of the window?
It goes outside.
Maglo tries to push the window as far out as it can go and then look over to see if he can track where it goes.
It goes out into the main courtyard, but then you lose sight of it. You can make an investigation check if you want.
21.
Mm-hmm. As far as you can tell, the blood is from a humanoid handprint. Only it's a furred hand. It doesn't. There's definitely some hair, and there are claw marks, as if someone was climbing up the wall.
Right. Okay. I'm done.
You find that the
And-
walls here are hollow, and you begin pushing yourself out, and you catch Siraye in the hallway.
Hi. Can I check your room?
Why?
The walls in mine are hollow. They're hollow in Doddle's as well. Like you can spy through them. But in
Of course
Doddle's,
they
there's-
are.
I know. I'm just checking to make sure it's everyone's. Also, there's none. I just thought that the walls were hollow.
Hawke, you enter into this scene as well as you step out of your room.
I just walk by. Of course they're hollow. The guy probably spied on us. And then he goes back down to the tavern. If you go into my room, I'll fucking kill you.
Right, fine. And then Maglo's gonna walk downstairs.
As-
No, he's not. He's gonna go into his room.
All right. Well, that's
Aggressive.
He had a rough
Well, off to a
morning.
great start.
Don't worry, I got it. I'm gonna make us some waffles. And everything will be fine.
Become a New Yorker.
The waffles will save us.
I'm gonna make us some waffles.
I'll walk in here.
So yeah, you walk back into your room, Maglo. Everybody else has gone downstairs, and as you turn around, you realize that your door is open, and you turn to see that there is a young boy with a broom staring at you and the state of your room.
Get the fuck out. I didn't give you permission to go into my room. Get the fuck out.
Sir, it's
Didn't ask you to call me sir, did I? I told you
What?
to get the fuck out. This is my room, and all of this shit is mine. I don't want your fucking tiny little eyes looking at it.
Of course. Yeah. All right. The kid turns and walks out and starts
Ew.
sweeping the hallway. It does it so very slowly.
Oh my god, speed up, get out, get the fuck out of my room.
You're a miserable old man.
And you're a tiny little dumb piece of shit that won't leave my fucking room. Now get the fuck out.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. No, I understand how it's gonna be. I'll be over here.
I need you to stop confirming that you're listening to me and
I
just
hear you.
leave.
I do hear you. Yeah. Yes, sir. I do hear you. Is there anything else we can get for you here at the Golden Owl?
What's your name?
Christoph.
All right, Chris.
It's Christoph.
I'll call your fucking name when you start fucking listening to me. All right?
Have you always been like this, sir?
Maglo is just going to grab him and try to pull him out the room.
Yeah, no, you put he was like at the threshold, so you kind of just like pull him by the collar and push him back down on the other side. And so the kid kind of like brushes his shoulder off. All right then, sir. Have a wonderful day.
Just
and
slams his door in his face.
Oh, just slam it right in his face. It's done. All right. Well, that happened. Meanwhile, downstairs, Doddle, you're the first one to come down, and you have your scarf over your face, and there's a bright fire burning in the main common hearth, and there are people seated around it, warming themselves from the rainy day outside, and there are bowls of porridges and mulled wine and other things being passed around. Cups of tea have been brewed as well. And there's just a number of pleasant aromas that are kind of rising up out of the kitchen. Tell me what you would like to do.
I'd like to find the closest person that appears to be a keeper of the inn.
Mm-hmm. So you immediately kind of move yourself over to the bar itself, and you do see Tamara there, and she's working on kind of refilling bottles and sorting things out and polishing some of silverware and moving it about in the space. She kind of smiles at you. She's not an exuberant person. You can tell that she's had probably a very hard life, but there's definitely a pleasantness to her, and she looks at you with kind eyes as you approach the bar. She seems very intelligent. The gray that's in her hair does very little to kind of destroy the youthful presence of her face. But you can tell that she's older and that she's been here in Waterdeep for some time. Above the bar, you see the sword that is hanging there. You see on the wall a number of shields that match the statue that was outside. The middle-aged woman glances down at you. Hello, dear.
Were you a sharp tongue?
At that question, she looks a little taken aback and maybe a little sad, but she immediately smiles a little more broadly. I was a long time ago. I was a sharp tongue, yes. Where did you hear about the sharp tongues, if I might ask?
From my studious-looking acquaintance. We saw a statue with...
Now that's interesting. Most folk around here don't know about them, but... Interesting. Well, thank you. You said your name was...
Doddle, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, and I hold out my hand.
Doddle.
Madam, I was just here to inquire if there is an entry-level, short-term position in your kitchen.
You're looking for work?
Mm-hmm. I'm looking for more of an internship position so that I may learn how to care for others in the culinary field.
Did you and Fiddle Scratch have a conversation yesterday?
Yes, we did.
And was it decided that you would be undertaking a certain quest?
Yes, when I said short term, I mean incredibly short, as in like the next 20 minutes. I would just like to help to make breakfast or like learn the tricks of the trade in one way or another.
I'd be happy to have you in the kitchen if you wish to help. However, I must ask that you not get under anyone's feet, as we do have a great deal of work to do before the crowds come. Doddle, I am Tamara Woolcrest, and as you have already discovered, I am a descendant of the original clan that formed the Sharp Tongues. This is my establishment, and you and your companions are welcome here as long as you like.
That's so cool! I promise to work very hard for you, Mrs. Sharptongue, and I will hopefully stay out of the way. And work hard at the same time. I don't know how I'm going to accomplish that.
It's Woolcrest, but she just smiles. The kitchen's back this way. And she opens a door and she speaks with a couple of the cooks that are milling about, and they give you kind of free reign to do whatever you want. And they seem to be, they're treating you with respect, but it's very clear that they're letting you play. Like whatever it is that you're doing, they're letting you just kind of go about your business, and they don't interfere. So you begin doing what in the kitchen?
I'm looking for anything that I can do that's helpful, because really I just want to watch other people cook and like see what seasoning they use with what.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know if I've ever used salt and pepper before.
Right. So you're moving about
I've never been in a kitchen.
Yeah. So there are a number of people back in the kitchen, but we'll come back to you as you begin to put yourself to work to help out around the Golden Owl.
Can I clean dishes? That seems helpful. That seems like something I could do.
They certainly do put you to work cleaning dishes. There are always those. It's not the same nightmare that Calder underwent. This is a very clean and well-meaning establishment. So, you do find some pots that you're scrubbing, and you're helping to wash dishes and cups. And the soapy warm water is very clean. And you help out there for a little while.
I'm still keeping an eye on the chefs though, because I just want to watch what they're doing.
No, and they're talking to you a little bit, and we'll get more into that as your kitchen adventure continues. But in the meanwhile, Hawke and Siraye, you both have walked downstairs, and you see the tavern light out before you. What would you like to do?
Hawke's gonna grab a improperly sized plate of food and cup of tea and just kind of camp out at one of the tables. In between alternating bites, he's going to take like bits they think will keep and put them in his pouch for later.
There are various stews and things like that that are bubbling or that are being served, and a number of the bar staff enters in and makes sure that you're well fed. What about you, Siraye? What are you doing?
I'm going to just look around and make sure there's nothing afoot. And then I'm going to sit where I sat the night before when we were eating dinner and told by Fiddle Scratch to sleep and they'll give us more instructions the next day. I'm going to sit at that same table, or like the exact same seat that I sat at.
Okay, so are you going to the back room or are you staying in the common
Yeah,
room?
I guess. Sorry, I thought we were in the back room. Yeah, I'm going to go in the back room
Okay.
and do that.
Yeah, I think I'll go to the back room as well.
You gather your food and you do that, okay?
Yeah.
And then Maglo, you're just a little behind everybody else, but you finally make your way downstairs. There's a bustle within the tavern. It seems as if business is starting to pick up, and you're slowly approaching mid-morning. It's still fairly early, but glowering at you from upstairs is the boy that has named himself Kristoff to you. And his eyes don't remove themselves from you. As he brooms, he's sweeping back and forth on the second floor, but he doesn't break his gaze away from you.
It's been about 10, 15 minutes since Maglo kicked the kid out because he's
Right.
been pacing around his room, just talking to Busby, just freaking out. He thinks that something's up, then didn't, and then the kid's in his room, and now he's like just trying to calm himself down that it's all going to be fine. So he basically is walking downstairs with all of his shit in his hands, like not packed away or anything, just like in his hands.
So you just have like a mess of books and scrolls and paperwork that are just bursting out of your arms as you come downstairs.
And as he shut the door, does he have a key for the room?
Yeah, you can lock your own room.
Yeah, he's locked the room. I think Maglo's just staring daggers at the kid.
Okay, so the two of you are locked in this intense glare as you walk past him downstairs and enter into the main common room. As you enter, the woman behind the bar with the graying hair that's been neatly braided back looks to you. If you're looking for your companions, they're back there.
Thank you.
Young man, just a moment. What do you know about the sharp tongues?
A bit enough. Why?
I was curious. Your young friend, she was talking to me this morning and just mentioned that you knew a little about the Shining Ring.
Yeah, I know. I know a little about a lot of things. I just know they're a group, very strong. They have a lot of resources. I don't know what the statue's doing outside. I don't know who's on the statue, but I assume they're someone who lived here.
Right. I wish that were true. We don't have a lot of resources. We do have all of the books and tomes that we've gathered over the years, adventuring through all of Faerun, but no, we're here and we do what we must to try to help those within the Southern Ward and beyond. Waterdeep is a complicated place, and I'm glad to know that the legends of my ancestors hasn't been completely forgotten. My sister and I would always fight to attempt to keep the memory of what the Shining Ring stood for alive. It just gets harder and harder these years. People seem to forget the old legends and to care just a little bit less. Regardless, I was just glad to hear that those outside of Waterdeep still hear stories about them, about us.
Sorry, and he puts all the things on the bar. I'm sorry about your sister.
It's part of it. You can't be who you want to be and be true to yourself without risking everything. And sometimes when you risk everything, you lose.
And I know. Because I I've already died once. But my story hasn't even begun. Your sister will be remembered through the stories that we tell and the things in books, and when that happens, do they ever really die?
No. And I'm just glad to see that you align with the way that we think. You don't seem very comfortable here.
I don't want my story to have a different author.
As I said, you can't be true to yourself if you're not willing to take a risk. They're in the back room, and she continues to kind of clean up the bar and move about her business.
Maglo packs up his thing.
My sister was an excellent warrior, but my brother Tam was a scholar. That library, it's a shrine to him. He died in Undermount. You remind me of him. And I don't say this lightly. You don't know everything.
I know more than most.
That's where the danger lies. Back room. Sorry to keep you.
And Maglo walks off into the back room.
Hawke, you and Siraye, you're eating at the same table that Phineas met with all of you before. You and Siraye are together, and as you enter into the room, there is a figure in the back room in the library that seems so far out of place that you could hardly imagine them being here at all. A coarse-looking dwarven woman with ruddy skin and an enormous tankard of ale has her boots off and her dirty feet kicked up in front of the fire. She is in heavy armor and covered in dirt and filth. Not really in an offensive way. And you can smell her when you immediately enter, but it's the smell of damp earth and campfire. And she seems very natural, not gross or, while she's certainly unwashed, she seems more like a piece of nature. And in this room, as you enter, Hawke, you're shoveling food into your mouth as you move in. Siraye, certainly your elven senses immediately kind of register this as soon as those doors open, and the finely carved wooden double doors of the space swing inward, and the gem-like eyes in the owls glimmer off the fire inside. You can see seated next to the fire is this enormous broadsword. It is just massive. It looks almost as wide as an axe, but it is indeed a sword, and it is leaning up against the fireplace on the stone there. And the figure is drinking heavily of this large tankard that looks like it's hooked with a chain to their belt, and they have a large piece of wood and a very simple looking knife that they're whittling some wood with. And the two of you enter, and the figure doesn't even look up, but is seated right next to the table that you met Phineas Fiddlescratch at. What would you like to do?
I'm just gonna I'm gonna stay seated at the table, and I'm just gonna be aware that the dwarf is there. And I have a feeling that they're not dangerous, but just in case, always
Right.
be careful.
What about you, Hawke? Do you also sit at the table?
Yeah, I register that Brett is there, and I put my food down, and I keep like a respectable couple like seats away from everybody, but I just kind of like drum my fingers awkwardly, just look around nervously. I like Hawke has things he wants to say, but it's been so long since he's actually talked to other people that he doesn't know how to get the words out of his mouth.
Oi there, boy. Are you courting a sweetheart? You seem nervous.
Who's this sweetheart? No, I'm good. I'm just having this delicious breakfast. You should try this. I think it's pork.
Oh, I've had the stew plenty of times. Yes, it's very good.
Are you an associate of Captain Mr. Fiddle Scratch?
Indeed, I am. Yeah.
He seems to know a lot about a lot of different people.
Oh, Mr. Fiddle Scratch knows a great many things. Always seems to have his fingers in the workings of Waterdeep, especially around here at the Southern Ward. What about you? You seem like a bright-eyed lad who's seen a whole lot of danger in his life.
This Fiddle Scratch fellow, how does a man like him get so much information?
Everybody wonders that, I suppose. That's the mystery, ain't it? Fiddle Scratch knows a great many things. A man of information, he be. Myself, nah, I have no business for it. In fact, I was called here by him. I believe you're looking for Brightgleam.
Is that you?
Indeed it is. And what about you, lass? Do you have a name? Or are you going to continue to poke me with those dagger eyes of yours?
I'm Siraye. I presume you're the one we are supposed to be working with today?
Oh, I think it's going to take more than a day, but yeah, I'll be leading you through. We know where some of the safe houses are for the group that you know as the Grasping Eye.
And what can we expect?
From the looks of you, you know how to fight. Your friend here seems a little shy, but also seems like he can swing a sword. Other than that, it's all up to you. A little bit of larceny, I believe, is what we're here for. Did Mr. Fiddle Scratch give you the indication as to what you were looking for?
No, not really.
Maglo, you enter at this point, and you see both Hawke and Siraye talking with this female dwarf that I've described. Her hair is kind of tightly braided back into two buns on the back of her head, and she has a very short beard, just a goatee that has been braided as well to match it. But she's filthy in the way that I described, in an unoffensive, sort of earthy way. Oh, you must be the one known as Maglo.
Right, sure. It's nice to meet you. And Maglo's going to walk over to the table, put his bag down, sit down. And there's food at the table? Is that right?
Yeah, there's some food there. Spread out, some bread and some stew.
Grabs like a small bowl of stew and some bread.
Bretta holds out a large, muscular, meaty hand to you. A pleasure.
Absolutely. And Maglo grabs it. So,
anybody told you look like anyone recently? It ain't just the spectacles, though. No. Well, she like kind of moves around. She's kicked her feet up off her bare feet up off the mantle now and is moving around, shaking each of your hands. Do each of you take her grasp? Because she grabs you like at the arm and just shakes you very viscerally.
Yeah, Maglo's partied with dwarfs before.
Hawke nervously takes it, and then once she's done, just kind of like recoils a little bit.
Yeah, she shakes you completely. Like you feel your bones rattle a little bit from the grasp, and it's firm. It's not cruel or like she's not trying to flex, but you can feel a massive amount of strength. Do you take her hand, Siraye?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Where's your fourth?
Yeah, where's the...
God.
Meanwhile, in the kitchen...
We forgot Kevin!
Doddle, you're working away in the kitchen, and there are a number of people here. However, the individual that seems to take the most interest in what you're doing is the large turtle, who is slowly moving around the bar. And, he's lumbering back and forth, working on things very, very slowly. He looks to you at one point.
You're doing a fine job with those dishes, my friend.
Thank you very much. I don't imagine Doddle is actually doing very well with the dishes. Like, she's working very hard and very vigorously, but there are pots that she should probably let soak that she is not. She's just trying to go at it. She's working very hard, but not very smart. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're working hard. You're not really accomplishing much. So the large turtle kind of like looks around. He has these beautiful milky blue eyes and a gray-green skin. He has this large blue-black shell that kind of glistens. It's very clean and well-maintained, but you can see that it's old. And he kind of moves with this sense that he's underwater at all times and kind of looks back for a moment, then looks back at you.
I understand that you want to know more about how we prepare our fare here at the Golden Owl.
Yes, I would very much, please, sir. I don't think I have very long before me and my companions are heading out, and cooking is far more complex than I first anticipated.
Well, like all things, especially here at the Golden Owl, knowledge often starts from a book.
And he very slowly pulls this ragged-looking cookbook off the shelf. And it's worn, and it has like splatters all over it. And there are ribbons and pages that have been ripped out and marked.
I taught Mara how to cook from this book. I think it's time it made its way to a new student.
And he hands it down to you, blinking slowly.
Me?
Of course, you.
She starts tearing up a little bit. She's like, oh, thank you so much. It's perfect. It's beautiful. I'm just gonna flip through it, and then she's going to say, wait, are my companions in the back room right now? I didn't realize the time.
Your companions are in the back room indeed.
Oh no. And she's gonna look at the pile of dishes that she has yet to complete and just,
Run along now.
well, no, I can't.
Come back when you were able to help.
Oh, wait, no, I can't just leave a task.
And then she gets so frustrated that she starts just kind of swearing in Elvish a little bit. She's like, oh god, these dishes are never gonna get clean. And then she's gonna like flick her hands out. And can I cast Prestidigitation on one of the dishes, please? That's
Okay,
just a
so you're-
cantrip, so I don't have to roll or anything, right?
No, you don't. So you're going to prestidigitation the dishes clean. Is that right?
I do really quickly have to say, Mo did just say the words prestidigitation,
Is that-
which
Oh.
is very good.
Which is now the official. You don't have prestidigitation. You have prestidigitation, which is
Perfect.
only good for cleaning dishes. But you do have that cantrip. No, in all seriousness, if you wish to cast that spell, if you want to make a show of it, you can.
Okay.
So tell me how you cast the spell.
Oh, just as she did, just speaking in Elvish and then just going, and so she gets clean, and then she's gonna go, how did I, what, do you have a pencil or something?
There's a quill over there.
And Orwell points across the room.
Thank you. And then she's gonna run and grab the quill and looking for a piece of paper, but I don't think there's any in sight, and she doesn't want to insult the present that was just gifted to her and is very valuable to her from her new tortoise friend. She's gonna grab the quill and start walking towards the back room and like jotting down her hand movement and what exactly she said just in the margins of the cookbook.
As Doddle's doing this and leaving, you hear the turtle who you now know as Orwell Mertrant speak to you.
Infalo osho utula mora.
And in Elvish, he says to you, "Be well, little friend."
Momo needs a second.
then she just pauses and turns back and says, "Thank you, and you as well," in Elvish. But
Momo's not as eloquent as Nox. I'm not gonna try it. Maybe I'll do it in post. I'm gonna keep walking to the library, please.
So you do that, and you continue on. And in the back room, the three of you are currently seated around the table. Bretta has joined you at the table. Still no boots on. They're still warming by the fire. And she's like wiggling her toes underneath the table. And like there's a smear of this like soot and dirt that kind of trails off behind her. And she has poured all of you a round of drinks and has slapped tankards in front of all of you. Well, if we're going to be traveling together, it would be best if we started off with a salutation to pray for the gods and everything that would come before us. Wouldn't you say?
Aye.
Here's to those who don't judge a book by its cover, and to those that we need to teach how to read.
To the ones that we need to teach how to read.
Clink, tankers, do all of you drink?
Yes, I do.
And as you drink heavy of this dwarvish brew from the keg that Bretta has produced, it is powerful drink, but it is not cruel. It doesn't hit you like a ton of bricks, like a certain friend of ours in a tavern elsewhere, but it is a very strong dwarven brew, and you certainly do feel much warmer having taken just a sip of it. Flustered, busting through the doors, Doddle arrives, carrying a book and scratching furiously inside of it. Oh!
I'm so sorry I'm late.
What have we here? This must be your fourth. Well, it seems that we're all gathered, eh?
I apologize for making you wait for me.
No, don't worry about it. No need to apologize. Just please, have a seat.
Goes and has a seat. Clutching a new cookbook.
Where should I begin? Oh, well, here he is himself, Mr. Fiddlescratch. A pleasure to see you again. Stepping behind the door, away, like just inches from where Doddle was a moment before, is the halfling in the patchwork cloak, looking at all of you with a very broad smile. June. You are seated around the fire. You have a bottle of strange wine thrust into your hand, and there is a plate of cooked dog in front of you. The rest of the members of the Zentarum mercenary group that you have fallen into have accepted you. They have decided that you are not only worthy of their company, but perhaps of a place within their organization, should you desire it. The twins that you have helped are very thankful, and the life that you have saved has gone a long way to endear yourself to these individuals. However, do not mistake my words. You are surrounded by cutthroat killers and thieves. Some of these mages are strangely marked and seem to traffic in magic that is not only illegal within Waterdeep, but perhaps wholly immoral. In this dark and ragged ruin of a building that you have found yourself in, the rain outside continues to pour. What do you do?
My twins aren't back yet?
They have not returned. You've been sitting now for a few hours, and the friends that you have made have not returned.
June was really, really enthralled by, is that the right word? What does that word mean? She was really, really interested in the big, tall woman. So she's gonna where is she sitting? Is she next to me? Because I can just
Yeah, you could be sitting next to her.
Okay.
And so the large, well-muscled woman, the barbarian, it just eats heavily of like what looks like a rack of ribs and is pulling them apart, breaking the bone and sucking the marrow out. There's juice dripping down her face and onto her chest and her hands as she has no qualms about how much she's enjoying the meal and how little she feels like the niceties of society need to be abided to here in this fire. Throwing bones into the fire as she completes them. She looks over at you.
Oh, wow. Oh, I was certainly going to try to make a friend, but that terrifies me.
Is there something on my face?
No. You're just it seems very strong woman, and I value that.
Good. I'm glad you find it valuable. I am the strongest woman you will ever meet.
Oh, really? Tell me about that. So, like, you fight often then, obviously, right?
My name is Uthra Sol, and I have slain Drake with these hands, no weapons upon them. I was raised in the arenas and the tribes of the West, given opportunities that very few have. I have proven myself time and time again, and now am a high-ranking member of the Zentarum. I have respect, yeah. I have allies that I can command underneath me. I have power.
That's very impressive. Well, then you would probably know a little bit about those siblings that brought me here and maybe their friend that got hurt.
Oh.
Who the heck are they?
The barbarian gets a little quiet and kind of looks around, and the hooded figure that was watching you before pulls back their hood. And you can see that they're at least half-elven in blood, if not full elf of some sort. They have very pale, almost golden skin, and their eyes are a deep, bright purple. I'd be careful. You're asking a lot of questions.
Sorry, I'm just...
You've proven yourself, to be sure. They all like you just fine. Just be careful. This is the Zentarum, after all.
Right, and June kind of remembers. Yes, June, these people are not like you. Can I ask one thing? Like, where exactly are we? Because if I need to make my way back, or if I need to do something with or for you guys, I'm not really going to know how.
I don't think you're going to need to worry too much. If you're with us, you'll take a charter. You'll accept a contract. And once given that contract, you'll earn coin and do what the ranking officer tells you to. In exchange, favors can be bandied.
Ooh, June's stomach starts to growl, but she definitely is not going to eat the dog.
Yes, not for everyone, I understand. Still, they gave you a portion of their food, so just make sure that it gets carefully put back where you got it from. Just so they understand you accept the offering, but you refuse to eat it. There's no shame in not partaking. It's just more of a show of acceptance. Again, you wouldn't want to sour your new friends after you've made such a nice impression.
No, I wouldn't. They wouldn't be offended, though, if I don't eat it? You sure?
No, yeah, it won't offend them. I'm sure half of them are already looking at your cut wishing they had it.
Can I do an insight check on
that? Yeah, you can make an insight check. To see
I'm like, he might be setting me up. But...
Yeah, trying to set you up for failure. No, it seems like he's telling you the truth.
Then, okay. June goes to respectfully, put it back, and she just says thank you. If any of you would like to partake, in this. I accept it.
Before you even finish, Uthra has shot her hand across the fire and snatched it off of your plate and
my
just
God.
starts immediately gnawing on it.
Thank you, Uthra.
Yeah, I appreciate. Thank you.
God, oh my God. Excuse me. June goes back to the hooded person and just goes, I don't suppose any of you are religious, eh? Are you?
You say that to the hooded individual only?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what you call religious, but yeah, there's quite a few amongst this group that follow the god Merkel.
Merkel.
Death.
I see. Well, good for them, you know? Everyone has their own path. You know what I mean?
Mostly it's not something that's discussed, you understand.
Oh, I get it.
Like, you can see that the hooded figure is now playing with a dagger. What do you know about the Lord of Bones?
Nothing. Actually, did you want to share? I'd be interested in hearing.
No, not particularly. I don't fancy myself a cleric or a zealot. Just curious. What about you? You don't exactly look like a pit fighter.
No, I'm not, but I am a protector of some sort. I mean, that's just what I do. I protect.
I'm all ears.
I don't know. I don't consider myself good. I don't consider myself bad. If someone gives me a certain energy, I give it back to them. I protect my people, and that's it.
Who are your people?
June kind of shifts uncomfortably. They are holy folk. But a lot of them aren't really here much anymore.
You don't follow Lathander, do you?
No. No, I follow. She doesn't want to say, so she kind of like scratches the back of her neck and goes, I follow, let's just say I follow the earth.
Fair enough. You don't want to talk about it. As long as you're not going to try to get ignoble when we begin working our trade, then it doesn't matter to me who you worship.
I just give what's given. That's not always good, so can't exactly call myself a good person, I guess.
Standing over the fire while you're having this conversation, you do see that the two twins have arrived, and they're in new red robes, and they've been cleaned up, and they hover over the group. And they look at each other for a moment, and they look back at you, and they kind of nod and smile as they seem somewhat surprised that you're not dead. My brother wishes to extend our apology. Our rudeness is wholly tied to the fate of the individual that you saved tonight. We are in your debt. What can we do to repay you?
Can we maybe talk privately? My friends are trying to enjoy their dinner, and I don't want.
There's a lot of grumbling around the fire. Of course, we can speak privately, but business of this Zentarum cell is not secretive amongst our own fellowship. We will share whatever information we glean with them in time. If you agree, then by all means, let us converse.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I just don't want to ruin their dinner currently. So let's.
You walk away from the fire with the twins, and we slip away into the rainy night and across the dock ward to Calder. Calder, you're walking through the streets, and you have with you a companion that has been assigned to you by Filthy Meg. It is a rat catcher, dirty but strategically so. Has a long hooked nose and a hunched shoulder on one side, moving through the street with a number of cages on their back. And the cages are filled with these screeching rodents.
Amazing.
Yeah. So the two of you have been walking now through the streets, and you've been gathering both coin and information. The information is usually placed into small scrolls, and you have a bag that you're collecting all of these things within. While you're making your way through the street, the haggard-looking rat catcher looks to you from time to time. His name to you has been known as Stimp, and he is a fairly crotchety older man and doesn't talk a whole lot, and just kind of looks at you from time to time, stopping often to take large swigs from a flask that he produces from one of his coats. He often has been letting you walk into the taverns, walk into the fishing shacks and the boats to collect whatever it is you're supposed to get. He's just sort of there to facilitate getting you to the right place at the right time. And you've been doing this for a number of days now. You've collected a great deal of coin, and you've collected a lot of these little scrolls. They get passed around. You've started to understand a little bit more about the things that happen in the dock ward. And upon your travels, you and Stimp find your way to a series of docks known as the Anchor's Rest. This area has been cordoned off, and there's a lot of official city guard presence here, and it makes you wholly nervous. There are some fishermen that you were supposed to talk to on the other side, but the guard has stopped you. A large, very stern-looking individual with a shaved scalp, long mustache, who's heavily muscled and very tall, has a callous manner about them as they walk towards you in the cloak and markings of the city guard. Hold right there. Where is it that you think you're going, trash?
Cal looks at Stim. We're just, catching rats, sir.
Just catching rats? What the fuck? You're the worst, the type of god, the one that thinks that they're so much better than everybody else. Look at you. Hey, you motherfucker, I'm talking to you.
And he starts stepping closer.
And I was just like, oh, you made him mad. Oh, God.
Boy, get this.
Oh, no.
Get this.
Your mother's in the seven hells servicing Asmodeus, you piece of shit.
Don't touch me. Get away.
Oh, come
Stand
on.
back.
Stim, come on. Let's just go do our work. He I'm sure he didn't mean to be a classist bastard. Let's continue on our way. He's very sensitive about his work, sir. It's best not to antagonize him too much. It just doesn't stop.
Make a persuasion check, please, Calder. And I'm going to give you an advantage because your RP is on point.
Oh, thank you. God.
That is a 15. Yeah. So you do convince you plus the performance of Stimp, which, by the way, Stimp sort of talks like that, but Stimp is clearly dialing it up. And so the two of you kind of wander back. You've got to be careful. They're always watching, Yeah,
thanks for the heads up.
I'd hate to see you in trouble. It seems that Meg is taking a shining to you.
Well, thank you. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing yet, but
No,
I definitely would rather be on her good side.
Usually, those who work for Meg for too long either end up like me or dead. Yeah, you're probably
it's just
not.
a twinkle of existential dread in Cal's eyes. And I'm like, oh, okay.
You're probably not gonna die today. It's all right.
Thank you.
So, boy, you've been here for a while and you've seen the route. How much do you trust that you can do it on your own?
Oh, yeah, well, I tend to be a little bit accident prone, but I think I've pretty much figured that I can get myself out of whatever messes I get into. I think I could try it.
What do you think is happening over there for the Anchor's Rest? Seems like there's a lot of city guard present.
Well, I'm sure Meg's been keeping him busy, like she said.
All right. I heard about that. You stole the ring right off of one of those highfalutin fucking pansy wizards. They're always watching with their eyes all over the place.
Yep, yes. I hope that they are only watching with their eyes and not listening with their ears. Maybe we should cut the...
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
And my mouth often gets me into trouble. Always has, ever since I was a lad your age.
Oh, well, I mean, can get you out of it sometimes, too.
Nah, boy, yeah. You remind me quite a bit of myself when I was young.
I will consider that a compliment, sir.
No, it's not. It's not a compliment at all. I was easily the source magnet for trouble you ever saw. Wherever I turned, I'd find myself neck deep in dragon shit.
Cal's eyes go wide for a second.
Not real dragon shit, you mind you. It's just the idea that you're always right behind the dragon getting shit upon. It's a metaphor. I'm not going to try to explain all of my sayings to you here, boy. It's going to take a little bit of work on your part.
If I remind you of you, could you do this when you were younger? What do you think?
Yep, think I could. I could. Yeah.
Well then, you have your answer, I guess.
You're a good lad. You're a good lad. And a piece of advice too: if you're ever in a game of Three Dragon Ante with a barbarian and two individuals who look like they are the master of sword, and you happen to know that you have a card under the table, maybe think a little bit before just pulling the card out, because as it turns out, there are people who are fairly keen on the idea of playing fair cards.
Imagine that. God, the audacity.
Yeah, you should still cheat. I'm not telling you not to. You should still cheat, but you should just be very cautious about how you do it.
Thank you. I'll keep in mind. I'll try to improve I'll try to develop my anti-faith.
Well, look, Calder, we've been traveling now, and I have to tell Meg whether I think you're fit for this or not. And I believe you are. But I want to know, what is it that you want more than anything else? Why are you doing this?
Well, there's something that was mine that was taken from me. And I can't get all of it back, but I can get even.
That's good, boy. Well, it'll take everything from you if you let it. Especially them bastards back there with their freaking armor and sitting back on the city watch. Anyone who works with the code legal knows that they get what they have coming. Because they believe and trust in the law, but look at where the law leaves the hardworking people around here. You've been collecting coin from them for days, and they're half starved. Master Lords don't give no shits about the people who wander these streets. Might as well be dead to them.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they are here to necessarily protect the people they say they are.
Meg's one of the good ones. She takes her share, fair enough, but she also makes sure that those who need don't go needing for long. So I gotta ask you, are you just doing this for yourself? Or do you care about the people who can't take care of themselves?
He stops for a second and thinks about it. It's like, I do. Sometimes when you are just trying to survive for so long, you forget about that a bit, but I do.
That's what I thought. You're a good boy. Remind me of myself. A little less handsome, but still none the same. All right. I'll tell Meg what I think. I hope you get what you're looking for, and that the bastards that did you wrong pay for it.
Thank you. I hope you and your rats will be very happy together.
Oh, I'm cooking them for dinner.
And he turns and keeps walking down the alley. Elerie, you are sitting there. Your friend has had a very interesting exchange with you, and the barkeep is still pinned to the wall. You talked for quite some time about what you knew and what you were doing and who you were working for. I don't know that we should reveal everything here, but is there anything that you'd like to say before the hooded figure steps away from the bar?
What's next?
I suppose that's entirely up to you. You're walking a fine line here. We value loyalty. We require it. You don't get opportunities from us. You get orders. And if you follow your orders, we'll see where that takes us. I can't imagine a world where you will have misunderstood your position and where you stand with a grasping eye. You know that we are not what we seem, and that this is much, much larger than what you first believed. You've made the unfortunate mistake of placing yourself in between our justice and the justice of the masked lords. I can only hope that you do not mistake the truth for the lie. We control Waterdeep. And if you want to survive here, you serve us. Do you understand, Bard?
Feel my heart beating just very, very fast. And those drinks have gotten to Elerie.
It's funny because the effects of it has slowly kind of rescinded away. And while you still are fully attentive to the drow that sits across from you, there doesn't seem to be any further effects upon you by the time the conversation's over, and you're actually frighteningly sober.
Oh, you'll have to forgive me. I'm frighteningly sober. But yeah, you give the orders. I'm ready to go.
Good. First, a show of loyalty. I want you to find a city guardman, kill them, and bring their head back here.
You telling me you just want one, or is there a certain name I should look out for?
For the first time in this entire conversation, the drow cracks a very small smile. This is a test. Get creative.
I think you'll like what I come up with.
You have your orders.
Well then, I better get out of here. By the way, seems like my living situation's been put into a pretty heavy pinch. Can I go back home, or am I going to need to look for someplace else to stay?
We can accommodate. When you arrive, I will have made contacts for you here within the dock ward. We will provide you with a room, some coin, and the information that you need to serve us. One head, 24 hours.
Got yourself a deal.
And you step out of the bar into the rainy night. There is a small group of individuals milling about in this area, but it's all very clandestine and frightening, as the individuals within this space do not seem to be on the level. They all have a very suspicious glance that they throw towards you as you interrupt whatever dealings they were in the middle of. Dark corners seem to have eyes that find you, and horses move through the street at a rapid pace, pulling carriages that do not wish to tarry in this part of the dock ward any longer than they must. And Elerie, you walk free under the rain with your new mission to remove the head of a city guard and to bring it back here to this drow who serves the group known as the Grasping Eye. It is good to see all of you again. Phineas smiles at the four companions that are seated with Bretta as the ale has been poured into these large tankards, and there is a jovial sense around the table. Doddle, you've returned with your new cookbook, and all of you are seated together. It seems that we're about the business of doing what we must to save you from the Grasping Eye. Did you rest well?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Maglo, turns out that the room may not be to your liking. Do you need Tamara to move you?
No, I'm fine.
Siraye, did you rest well?
Siraye just kind of nods.
Hawke, did you rest well?
No, although that wasn't due to your accommodations. They were quite nice. Thank you, Mr. Fiddlescratch.
I imagine it wouldn't be. And I see that you've all met Bretta. Oh, yeah. We've all been acquainted now, Fiddlescratch. We've got these new, bright, young faces that are out seeking to find adventure in the new world. I wouldn't say that this is so much an adventure as it is a mission of self-preservation. Oh, yeah. Well, we're probably going to knock some heads together. That constitutes an adventure as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I wouldn't mind if we found a little adventure along the way.
Oh, see. The lass is already talking my language. We're going to be just fine, Fiddlescratch. Don't you worry. We're as tight as some peas and some pods here. Ain't no reason to be worried at all. It's hard not to be worried these days, but at the same time, I do see that each of these individuals, something about them, something that I like very much. Oh, me too. They know how to drink a dwarven ale. I have very few problems. Yeah, I don't know if you've been sipping or not sipping or just kind of playing with the tankard, but it's totally fine. Bretta has already, you accepted the cup, which is really all that mattered as far as Bretta was concerned.
I think she would, to avoid attention, just be like, yum, 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 but like not actually drink it.
Yeah, it's if you were to take even the slightest sip of it, it is so flavorful that it kind of knocks you over. And there's some part of your goblinoid like body that's actually very interested in it, but the elven part of your mind that is so unused to these sort of like heavy, coarse ales is almost knocked over, even if you just get the slightest smell of it. But you manage. It's not making you sick or anything like that. It's just very strong dwarven brew. Now, I'll ask one last time, just to be sure. Are we of an accord of what the situation is and what you need to do?
Go with Bretta, get the box, bring it back here.
There's a subterranean layer where one of the safe houses for the group that you know as the Grasping Eye is going to be holding on to an important item. They have a lot of stolen goods there. They work to smuggle all across the city. And if you're able to retrieve a few of these items, it would blacken their eyes something fierce. In doing that, I believe that we will acquire the appropriate material to negotiate a lasting peace for yourself. Certainly, what you're about to retrieve will make the grasping eye forget all about your secret books and the offense of removing a few of their employees from that alley.
And you're sure this won't just anger them further?
Couldn't possibly anger them further. They already want you dead.
Hold up. Nobody told us that we were going underground.
Did I fail to say? You'll be entering through the sewers of Waterdeep.
Are you sure that this is what we have to do then?
The item I'm having you retrieve, young Hawke, could very well shift the balance in the underworld here in Waterdeep. It's a very big deal. And I believe that each of you is able to quietly retrieve it. Greta here is quite good at what she does. We'll be able to lead you there, but this is entirely on your shoulders. And it's important that people who are more or less unaligned with the city currently do this. Might be more difficult for those who have history here.
Are you afraid?
No, I'm fine. Yeah, it's what's down deeper that I'm concerned with. What's in
there's
this
nothing
box?
to be afraid of. Trust me, I've been down there plenty of times. It's dirty enough. Sure, there's some rats the size of dogs, but I think you're going to be just fine.
What kind of dogs are we talking here? Like Chihuahuas or Great Danes?
I don't know those breeds, but I can tell you they're like street dogs. About half the size of you little one. So you stay close to old Brett Brightgleam, and I'll make sure that none of them get a hold of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, what's in this box? Could it? I don't want to hurt innocent people here.
The item that you're retrieving in the box mustn't be talked about. In fact, once you retrieve the box, I want you to promise me that you'll never talk about it again. It's for your own safety. And whatever you do, don't open it. Again, I'm trying to protect you and make sure that no innocents get hurt, yourselves included.
Insight check. That is a 4. Plus 2, 6.
You're so excited about that 4, though. You can't tell. Phineas is very difficult to read. You don't get the sense that he's lying to you. But at the same time, if he was, you don't think you would know.
Well, seems like we don't have much of a choice.
Fine. Grab a box. Bring it to you. Don't do anything with it aside from touch it. Bring it here, and then you give us what we need.
That's the deal. Whatever it is that you're looking for, whatever you need, I can help you. I've looked over your notes here. Spent a little bit of time with that book of yours, Maglo. It's very impressive. You and your research partner did very good work. It's impressive. But you don't have everything that you need. You're just a few steps away. The question really is, what will you do with the information once you get it?
Doddle's paying really close attention now.
Guess we'll find out.
Siraye, Brett is going to be guiding all of you, but I'd like for you to have this. Phineas reaches into his patchwork cloak and produces a leather scroll case and hands it over to you.
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna open it and see what it is in this case.
Yeah, they're maps of Waterdeep.
Oh.
And there are
Cool.
some sewer maps as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are instructions written upon it, and you recognize them immediately as a secret code used by the Thieves Guild.
Okay, I'm not part of the Thieves Guild, and I don't have Thieves' Cant, so I can't read it.
You don't have Thieves' Cant, but you recognize that is what it is.
Okay. Huh. And then I'll roll it up and put it back in the scroll case.
All right. Well, is there anything that you'll need before you go? Anything that I can offer to assist you upon your way? Bretta's pulling her boots back onto her massive feet and grabbing her big blade and sheathing it onto her back. Oh yeah, he's real good at getting things if you're looking for something. Now's the time.
Some dungeoneering gear might be a good idea, in case we run into any traps or tricks down there.
Oh, you won't need that. Old Bretta's got you covered there. Bretta pats onto a pack, and you see ropes and pinions and all this adventuring gear kind of strapped to her back as she puts this pack on. Anything else?
A couple of potions won't go amiss.
I can do that. Phineas steps out for a moment and comes back with a couple of bottles of something from what looks like bottles that you saw in the back of the bar and hands them to you. These are curatives. They should aid you if you should become injured on the road. They're not inexhaustible, and I'm afraid that they will do just enough to keep somebody standing. So use them wisely. You have 2 potions. They are healing potions, unless you want to do an identify. I can't really tell you more.
2 each or 2 in total?
2 total. If you want to make some rolls, Maglo, I can have you figure out exactly how effective they are, if you want to do that. Otherwise, the rest of you gather up your things, and Bretta leads you out into the streets of Waterdeep.
Can I, as we're passing by Mr. Fiddle Scratch, say, I understand that this situation is bizarre and sudden, and that all of us are distrusting of you, but I did want to say thank you for the hospitality you have shown us.
Phineas Fiddlescratch never breaks his smile, and it's broad and very genuine seeming. And when you say that, and the way that you say that, he seems to grin even wider. I understand. I want you to know that no matter how dark it gets, there's always light. Be safe. Travel well.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Hawke is going to be the last one that goes out. And he just has a quick word with Phineas, if that's cool.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Listen, I know you said you could give me direction, but I have that. What I do know is that you seem to be a well-connected person with a lot of information. So after this is all done, and we got a good hour or 2 between us, I'd like to pick your brain.
Whatever you like. I'd be happy to help you, Hawke.
Thank you. I head out.
May the Dawn Lord's light be with you. And you pass through the doors, and all of you are outside of the Golden Owl. As you're walking out, we're going to be moving on foot. So I need you to stay close and to stay quiet. And please, for the sake of all the gods in the sky, do not make a scene.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, come.
Sounds good to me.
So you and the group travel through the streets of Waterdeep, and during the morning hours, the city is bustling with life. There are people in carriages that are moving like water, rushing through the streets and pushing their way back and forth on all the varied business of their lives. There are merchants that are shouting out, and there are the shrieks of eagle-like creatures in the sky as griffins hold city watch folk aloft, carrying them overhead. There is the glimmer of metal and steel and stone as every part of the city is being struck with the wide sunlight that has broken free of the constant rains that have beset this place since you arrived. And while there are still gray clouds on the horizon and you hear the roll of thunder in the distant skies, for the moment, there is a brief patch of sun that has broken through, and you are all walking in a brightly lit series of streets that lead you deeper and deeper into the southern ward. As you make your way, Bretta continues to lead you along. She walks very very quickly for someone of her stature and makes her way to a number of merchants, greets them with a hello, flips them a few coins, buys apples for all of you, and passes them out as you continue to move closer and closer to your destination. She leads you to an alleyway and stops and looks about before making the turn. When it seems as if it's clear, she quickly motions for all of you to rush into the alleyway. Do you comply?
Yes.
Yes.
Following after you, she again takes the lead and leads you down a very dark and abandoned alleyway. There are boxes that are stacked up here and many areas that are poorly kept. Midden heaps and other piles of trash that have been rotting for some time, untended by those who would clean the streets and the alleys of Waterdeep. You move closer and closer to what you realize is a large metal grate that is inset into the very wall of Waterdeep itself. Now, the walls of Waterdeep are enormous. They stretch all the way around the majority of the city, and they are as high as some of the buildings here, and made of a very smooth and well-shaped stone. Every once in a while, there will be a sewer grate that is placed within it, and this one is one of the many that are here to allow for both access to those who need to maintain those sewer passageways, but also for there to be a flow of both clean water and air. And there is a small, unnatural trench that has been dug that is bringing fairly clean water. It's rainwater for the most part, but it's draining all of it into the wall, whisking it away from the very parts of the street and into this sewer passageway, where the water is then carried off and into the bay itself. The large metal grate is made from very strong and sturdy iron. It looks impenetrable, and the openings in it are only a few feet in diameter. While Doddle might be able to squeeze through one of these breaks in the grate work itself, the rest of you would have a very hard time, as would anyone of a normal human proportion. Bretta moves a little closer and looks to all of you, looks over her shoulder and pulls out a large ring of keys. On the keys are a large metal objects that have cylinders attached to them. You think that they're a type of key, but they're unlike the keys that you've seen in the past. And there is a working of dwarven glyphs upon the side of one of them. As Bretta steps forward and moves over to what you realize is a finely made doorway that has been inset into this metal steel grate. The key is slid into a lock that is very cleverly positioned on the side of one of the bars so that you cannot see it when you're looking directly at the grating. She turns it and opens the grate before you. Now, I'm not much of a storyteller and I'm no magician at all, but you got to admit, you didn't see that coming.
No, I was looking through my cookbook and my spells, wondering how we were gonna get through this grate.
Brett has got you. You've got the best guide in all of Waterdeep. After you.
Oh, thank you. Good going. Feeling confident.
Her dirty face is beaming at all of you as you pass through. Doddle enters first. Who's after?
Hawke's gonna hang in the back because he probably looks like he's about to faint.
Okay, so yeah, you're trying to work yourself up to actually enter into the sewer system.
Maglo fully waits for the fully armored dude to go in, looks back at him in a, oh come on, and then sees his face and then is like, oh fuck's sake.
All right, fine. I'll go in front of the.
You are the most armored one.
Fine, I'll go in front of you. All right. Does anybody need light? Does anybody need to see down here?
No, I got it. And then Maglo pulls out a small crystal on the end of like this metal casing and then smacks the crystal against the wall and it glows up and he's going to cast light.
Magic glow
Straps
stick.
it to his...
Okay, so immediately there is a glow of light that emanates from this stick that Maglo has produced, this mechanical device, and Busby is on your shoulder and is immediately light goes from green to yellow to like a very bright blue, and it starts piercing through the darkness as it's kind of scanning around. I imagine that Harold has been left back at your room at the Golden Owl. Is that correct?
Yeah,
okay,
he's
just to be sure.
He's just chilling.
All right, fair enough.
She's just chilling.